I'm Natasha from Bright Sprout Consulting, and I'm a career and life coach. Today, I wanted to chat to you a bit about how to find your thing. You know, the thing you should be doing with the rest of your life. Whenever I tell people what I do for a living, they naturally assume that I have the secret herbs and spices they would need to uncover the mystery of whether or not they're doing what they should be doing. So, real talk? There are no secret herbs and spices. There is no magical formula to determine whether you are doing what you're supposed to be doing. The only way to determine that is through hard work. I remember when I was in high school, when I was about 16, I met with my school's career counselor to discuss what my options were after I left high school. You know, what was I going to do with the rest of my life? Was I going to study further, or was I just going to jump straight into the world of work? These were pretty life-changing decisions that I felt I had to make at the ripe old age of 16. Many of my peers had already decided what they wanted to do, and it was putting so much pressure on me to make that decision. I ended up going to university and studying a very general degree because even at that time, I still didn't feel comfortable to commit to anything because I knew I hadn't found my thing. I ended up working full-time while studying part-time. And when I completed my degree at the age of 20-ish, I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I ended up working in a number of different positions and different working environments. What I learned about myself during that time was a couple of things. Firstly, I learned what kind of working environments I thrive in. And secondly, what kind of activities I enjoy doing. It took me years to realize that I was putting myself under unnecessary pressure to know what it is I needed to do with the rest of my life. Because in all honesty, unless you have discovered your passion at a really young age, which does happen, the majority of people discover their path through the experiences they have, the people they meet along the way, and the things they learn about themselves as they progress through life. Here are a few of my top tips for finding your thing. So my number one tip is don't put so much pressure on yourself to know the answer right now. If I reflect on my journey, I only realized what it is I wanted to do when I turned 39. And I only came to that realization because of the experiences I had within the world of work. Your journey will reveal to you the things you're most passionate about. Back when I was in high school, the only coaches that existed were those within the sporting environment. I would never have dreamt of doing what I'm doing right now back then. Mostly because I don't think this job existed back then. So I'm really grateful that I managed to find my thing at such an early age. My second tip is take the time to understand yourself. People really underestimate the value of knowing yourself. Let's do a test. What's your number one value? And does your organization demonstrate that value? Do the people you work with day to day demonstrate that value? One of my key values is self-accountability. The idea that you own the decisions that you make, as well as the consequences that come with those decisions. I had a line manager who didn't rate that value as highly as me. And she used to breed a culture of, as long as you have someone to blame, you should be fine. This didn't sit well with me and resulted in me going to work angry and frustrated all the time. It was not the ideal working environment for me. My third tip is to ask for feedback from those closest to you. Sometimes you're so deep in it that you cannot see the wood for the trees. You cannot see the things that you're great at and the things that you're not so great at. So having an external point of view could be beneficial in helping you understand what those things are. So here are some questions you could ask them. What do you see in me that I don't necessarily see in myself? If you had to choose my ideal career, what would you choose and why? If you had to describe me to somebody else, what would you say my key qualities are? Obviously, you would have to take any feedback you get with a grain of salt, because it's just their perspective on how you show up. You'll be able to see and feel what is authentic for you. So my final tip is that you go and discover different options. Go and dabble in things that you've never done before. Don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting that you leave your really secure job to go and do something that you've never done before, or you are uncertain of the outcome. What I am suggesting is that you go and test these options and test it in a way that you feel comfortable with. So you could either volunteer your time to do that thing, or you could start that side hustle, or you could even go to your HR team and say that you're interested in understanding what certain areas of the business look like and what they do. There are different ways for you to dabble and explore. Be open to exploring different opportunities. So that's it. We've come to the end of the video today. I hope that some of the tips that I've shared you can make use of. If you are looking for a companion on your journey of self-discovery, please feel free to reach out and let's see if we can work together to achieve those goals that you've set. Alternatively, if you're just interested in my content, please feel free to subscribe to the channel and I'll see you next time.